Welcome to episode 196 of AviaDev Insight Africa, the podcast dedicated to the world of African aviation with your host, John Howell, CEO and founder of AviaDev Africa. This March will see the first live and in-person aviation event in Africa for the last 2 years. The event in question is the 67th ACI Board and Committee Meetings Regional Conference and Exhibition. It is taking place the 12th to the 18th of March in the wonderful, beautiful location of Mombasa on the Kenyan coast. And I'm delighted to say that I will be there in person as well. ACI Africa is the voice of African airports. Its prime objective is to represent and advance the collective interests of African airports. And today, I'm delighted to say that I am joined by the Secretary-General of ACI Africa, Mr. Ali Tounsi. And together, we're going to preview the conference and discuss the key issues of focus for ACI as we look to recover from the events and the effects of the pandemic. So welcome to the podcast, Ali.
Thank you, John. Thank you for hosting me for this podcast. I'm very pleased to exchange with you today. Thank you.
It's wonderful to have you on. I can't believe it's taken us till episode 196 to get you on, but it's really great timing because, of course, we're about to do our first live event in Africa, African aviation. Really excited to be there. So the last couple of years, of course, have been particularly challenging for anybody involved in aviation across the globe. What are the main challenges for your member airports as we enter 2022, and how have they changed since the pandemic began?
Yeah, you are absolutely right, John. Some people in the business said that the last 2 years have clearly been the survival of the fittest. As you know, the world of aviation has been largely redefined by the pandemic, with the business of travel, exploring and embracing different strategic orientation as airlines, airports, and other stakeholders in the aviation ecosystem continue to fight for their survival and try to get a sustainable growth path to ensure their future business resilience. So with the drastic drop in traffic, the airport industry has tightened its operational expenditure over the last 2 years and revised its capital expenditure by delaying projects planned before the pandemic or by embarking on a new project linked with containing the propagation of the pandemic. In Africa, where the states still have a significant control on the airports, the support of the government has helped most of the airport to just keep their heads out of the water, as we can say. So, John, I am hopeful that 2022 will be the year of a sustainable recovery for our industry. And we pray that by 2024, we are back to the normal business as in 2019. So let me not spoil the outcoming of the session in the forthcoming conference in Mombasa, where we will precisely debate on the challenges of this year, 2022, and going forward.
Absolutely. Yeah, I echo those sentiments. I think that, of course, a big part of solving these problems is to get together. And of course, you're back with face-to-face events this year for the first time in a couple of years. Can you offer our audience a bit of an outline of the key topics that are going to be discussed during the conference?
Yes, as you said, John, we are back. And we maintain to be back because it's a big challenge. So after an absence of 2 years and the cancellation of 4 conferences over that period, it was high time for ACI Africa to renew with its face-to-face events. Let me tell you that I honestly believe that we now need to learn to live with the pandemic, especially that we have no clear idea when the pandemic will end for good and how more variants may be emerging, which I pray will be less virulent. So I am excited to see that many countries have started to adopt this strategy recently, with some events going back to the normal, for example, no mask and so on. And I am only hopeful that by the time our regional conference and exhibition in Mombasa kicks in, traveling in Mombasa will also become less complicated. So we hope that everything will be smooth. Here, I have to thank our host, Kenya Airport Authority, which after the first cancellation in March 2020, has all the way been very determined to go ahead with the event once the conditions become more favorable. So coming to the conference itself, we have chosen a renewed team with a fitting one on this pandemic era, which is a new vision for a resilient and sustainable African airport industry. So all those who will attend the conference will have the opportunity to hear from renowned speakers delivering on the main challenges facing African airports in ensuring resilience, profitability, and sustainability in the new normal, on air transport viability, on smart technology, on commercial revenue, on air cargo, and on air access liberalization, among others. So I must tell you that since we have opened the registration at the beginning of this year, we have observed a keen interest from the aviation community to attend this conference. So the last figures on the registration deck are indeed very encouraging, with more than 130 delegates already registered.
Wow, fantastic. And yeah, I'm really excited to get stuck into some of that content, because I think we all know that the conversation is always richer when we have it together in the same place, and then of course have those opportunities to have those side conversations as well. So moving away or staying with the program, but focusing more on the speakers, can you give us an idea of who you've got lined up for us that we're going to hear from at the event?
So John, let me start with the opening ceremony, where the chief guest will be the Honorable James W. Macharia, Cabinet Secretary and the Ministry of Transport, Infrastructure, Housing, Urban Development, and Public Works of Kenya, who will also officially open the ACI Regional Conference and Exhibition. In fact, he's the Minister of Transport, as we usually said. All our speakers and panelists are prominent and renowned industry leaders, expert and dignitary in their respective fields. And therefore, it will be unfair to just name a few of them. So you will discover all of them in Mombasa. But we are all so excited to hear from them, especially in their vision going forward in this new normal in the different sector of the economy, including in the tourism and the aviation industry, on the future of smart travel, on how the travel and retail industry is reinventing itself, and on the vital cargo industry, among others.
Yeah, fantastic. As I say, I can't wait. And of course, the program is up there on the website, but there's still a little bit to be added, but it looks really, really strong. So I'd recommend everybody goes to the website, and we'll add that to the show notes as well at the end. The other thing that we've seen over the last couple of years is a willingness for the industry to come together and to collaborate, to look for solutions that work for all of the players and all of the stakeholders in the value chain. So I believe you're going to host a panel for the African Aviation Industry Group, and Shamsu Anjurin has been on the podcast. He's a good friend of AviaDev's as well. So can you provide some more details on what it actually entails and why that's such an important session?
Yeah, sure, John. Indeed, we are so delighted that for the very first time we will host an AAIG forum with within our conference. So in the aeropolitical session of the AAIG will follow naturally from other important session in the morning, which is on the modernization of the global policy framework on airport charges, which will be delivered by ACI. It's a very, very important subject that we will discuss. The 2-hour aeropolitical session, on the other hand, will focus on the aeropolitical financial system governing the air transport industry in Africa, and how different actors in the aviation ecosystem can work together and ultimately contribute to achieving a vision of the agenda of 2063 of the African Union, which is the Africa we want. So all the main industry players will be present in this session, including Afra, IATA, Kanzo, Boeing, Embraer, and of course, ACI Africa. So we are eager to see what comes from this session in terms of roadmap for this year for the partner of IIG.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, they're doing a great job to try and connect the dots, because of course, it's not always that obvious how everybody can benefit when you've got airports and airlines. We have to work together. We have to coexist. Yeah, I'm excited to be part of that session and cover that as well, and listen to what everybody's got to say, which is fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to being in Mombasa and getting some sunshine and some warmth and breaking out of this cold Northern Hemisphere winter. So it's my first trip to Africa for a couple of years. I can't wait. But can you just give us some information on how our audience can find out more about the event and how they can get themselves registered?
Yes. First of all, we have a dedicated website for the conference, which is ACI-Africa.net. On this website, you will have all the required information on the conference, including the registration process, the conference program, sponsorship and exhibition opportunity, update health protocols in Kenya, and booking of the conference hotels, among others. So all delegates will be welcomed at the Mombasa airport by our host, Kenya Airport Authority, who will assist them, if required, with the travel formalities. Transport facilities to the dedicated conference will also be available. I also want to recite this opportunity to reassure all delegates that we have taken the necessary precaution at the conference venue in terms of, firstly, strict observance of the sanitary protocols all the ways. Secondly, on the possibility to have the PCR test at the venue itself for the departing delegates. And thirdly, with an emergency medical team on standby during the event, which is really a good achievement for this event. For those who is not registered yet to our conference, I encourage you to do so now. If you have any query, please send an email to ACI Africa, or just contact the event manager, Ms. Karbal. So I look forward to personally welcome each of and everyone to our conference, and hope to see you next month in the vibrant city and warm city of Mombasa. Thank you, John.
Thank you so much, Ali. It's wonderful to hear, and just so refreshing to know that I'll be able to leave my laptop screen for a couple of days and just network with people, because I think shared experience is where the magic happens, and where we actually get some really solid ways forward, and we agree the progress. So thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. I look forward to catching up with you in Mombasa. To all our listeners out there, I have included all of those links that Ali did mention in the show notes. So feel free to go over to the website, find out a little bit more. And if you did enjoy this episode, please do share it with somebody you think would benefit from having a listen. If there's somebody listening that you think should be attending this event, then send it over. They'll get a bit of a preview and they can get themselves registered, and we can all shake hands and see each other in Mombasa in March 2022. So thank you very much for joining us. Thank you once again, Ali, and we'll see you for the next episode very soon.
Thank you, John, and see you all in Mombasa.